My content is intended to be used and must be used for educational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research any information you find from my videos that you wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. All right, we got Friday. It is March 8th. It was a great week this week. We're going to go through quite a few names and breaking down. This might be a little bit of a longer recap, but there's going to be a lot of educational stuff going on and a lot of technical analysis, and I'm going to be doing my best to break down everything that I am seeing. Sometimes I can forget that some people may not know what I'm talking about, so making this easier for everyone to understand is my goal for today's video. So we're going to be going through this week. Just a side note, I started charting daily again. So what I had been doing in the fall, so like last October 23, as I was charting daily and then basically making swing trades based off of some of those daily looks on like charting during the week. So I kind of went away from that because I think I became a little bit obsessed with like catching the big move or kind of just playing the weekly overall instead of using the daily. So went back to charting during the day this week, or as each day goes, and found some good success doing that. I'm going to do that again. Had a really fun week trading, to be honest. So that's going to wrap up my little blurb about that, but let's get right into the charts. Here is our list for today. We have Boeing, PLD, Moderna, IWM, STZ, FSLR, KKR, FDX, Amazon, IYR, and Capital One. So kind of a thick list, but we're going to go right through it. So let's go look at Boeing. Boeing, we left off yesterday with a nice high volume buying right back into supply, and we were looking for long continuation today. As you probably just saw, that is the opposite of what we got. Boeing did break down through the demand zone, and I did end up selling. This one was tough for me, so I have my contract right here. I have the 215 call on March 28th. So if we go 215 right here, I have the 215 call on March 28th. So yes, it is fairly outside the money, but no, yeah, it is fairly outside the money. So no buts. So rule here was that I was going to close on a daily close below this demand zone, and we finally got that today on high sell volume. Now, I did only end up selling about 2/5 of my position. Actually, 3/5 of my position, just purely out of testing. I want to see something. So I still have complete faith in Boeing long. Yes, it looks like dog shit right now, but I do have faith that this is going to end up breaking to the upside. And I do think today's candle is a little more misleading than people think. So if we go look at the hourly, let's go take a look at the hourly. Let's go look at right here. So as we break through, so we're in supply again, we push up through supply. Here's the opening candle today. We had a nice bottom wick down, and then we had a very, very low sell volume. Look at the sell volume on this hourly candle right here. We can see it right here. We can see it right here. We had an extremely, can you see it? Yes, you can. There we go. I should probably zoom in. Extremely low sell volume candle, and then that is actually going to be about, let's see how large it is. It's about $1.03 down on terribly low volume. And then as we continue, we have a smaller spread candle. So about, let's see, last one was $1.03. Let's go look at, that's not the tool I wanted. $1.03, let's go 38 cents. Okay, so 38 cents to $1.03, yet the volume was double. And then we get even smaller. We go, what, maybe 20 cents conservatively, 20 cents, and the volume was even higher. So those are VPA anomalies. So it's kind of like, think about like a soccer ball, for example. So if you're going to go wind up and kick a soccer ball really hard, you would expect that soccer ball to go really far. Kind of the same thing in trading. So if you have a lot of volume, you would expect the candle, or like how far it went, or like how far the soccer ball went. If there's a lot of volume, you would expect price to move a very far distance. Yet when we have two small candles, so like think of, well, first we have two very high volume candles right here. So we would expect to see two large candles if this was like true genuine selling, but we had the exact opposite. So the biggest candle right here had the least effort put into it. So that is a VPA anomaly. It's like if we went up and kicked a soccer ball really hard and it went about like 2 inches, or if we kicked a soccer ball like we barely tapped it and then it went like 100 yards or like length of the field or something like that. So in my opinion, just because of this, not alone, but I do believe that institutions are buying at these levels, and I do believe this is going to reverse. I did end up selling 3/5 of my position just because that was my stop loss. It just sucks because my position was down about like 50%, and I do believe this is going to recover. I just don't think I'm going to have enough time before that March 28th expiration. It's March 8th today, so I just want to see. So I left on 2 contracts. So I had 5 contracts total. I left on 2 contracts, and I want to see how they perform. I think it's very likely that we see some like kind of close down here, maybe a rejection here, maybe some kind of double bottom. So in like 4 or 5 days, and then we go. I think that's very likely. But it's just, I think my contracts are likely going to be destroyed by the time, or if that happens. So losing money in theta every day is not fun, and then this market structure is just not ready yet. So that's what I'm looking for on Boeing. I do believe this is going to reverse, and I do like it long, hence why I left a few contracts on, and I just purely want to see like what happens if I left 2 of them on. I want to see if they like how much they're going to recover. I mean, obviously there's those like charts where you see like you need, if like 50% drawdown, you need like a 200% gain to recover it or something, or maybe 100% gain to recover it. But yeah, I guess I left the 2 on just for testing purposes, and it did break down today, so I kind of had to sell 3 of my contracts just out of pure principle. It should have been 5 contracts out of pure principle, but I decided to leave 2 on to see what kind of recovery we rock with. So, and if it breaks down through here, then I'll probably be completely out because my thesis will be invalidated. But that is Boeing. Let's go look at PLD. So PLD, wow, PLD. It was showing no daily volume before the close, so that daily volume is very, very nice. PLD was kind of a make or break day. If you have not been watching, we have been in PLD since all the way back here. I was in for like May or something, so we had quite a bit of time. I ended up selling my full position on PLD, realizing gains that we had from right here, and then I rolled the profits into new contracts. So what it looked like was full size for May contracts, and then we sold profits in full position, and then we used profits for short-term calls for next week. So next week expiration, and then the rest of the capital I rolled into a little bit shorter dated now that I think that I'm almost certain this is ready to go. So then rest was used for April calls. So a little farther out just to protect the like majority of my capital from any short-term risk, but I did sell profits. I wanted to take advantage of some short-term gains that can be made on this position now that I think this is ready. So let's go look at it. We have a nice double bottom right here, higher low being put in, and then we did close above supply and then on higher volume, which is always good to see. So it was make or break day for PLD for sure. Going into PLD today, we had this nice little 4-hour flag that it had to break today. If we look back yesterday, it absolutely had to hold this today. Turn on our market structure, our line with markers. It was kind of having this little 4-hour flag that it had to hold, and it did end up holding. So that is good for PLD, really good. Hopefully we break it finally. Hopefully this finally meant we broke it. So nice job, PLD. Again, sold May contracts, realized some of the short-term profits that I had, rolled short-term profits, so you could say no more excess capital, rolled short-term profits into risky, volatile next week contracts just to get some kind of it's essentially risk free at this point those contracts are, because I did use some short term profits to purchase those, and then I also rolled the rest of my capital that I had used originally to enter in May contracts into April contracts. Now that I do know that this is most likely ready, so that is the plan on PLD. This is one of the first times I'm ever doing this, but I think it's a solid plan. Yeah, I think that's a solid plan, so we will see. Moderna, same kind of thing. Moderna, first of all, awesome trade. Just awesome trade all around. I mean, we had this high volume post-earnings gap up, so your peg setup. We entered here, which was I guess you could say maybe 2 days early. It officially broke out here, and then it's been continuing higher since. On Moderna, I did realize profits right around here at 101.53, and it did end up going a little bit higher, which is completely fine. On Moderna, I did do something like I did PLD. So on Moderna, I have not entered my full position yet, but I am waiting for a pullback to roll profits back into a longer term position on Moderna now that it's broken out. So what I am talking about is I had full size short duration, sold my full size short duration for a great gain today. Added a short term I'm looking to add Okay, so that's exactly my plan. So we entered full size short duration. We had some nice profits. We sold the full size short duration today. I did sell it today because I think this is due for a little bit of a pullback. And if I'm wrong, I will. So that's exactly why I had that. So I sold the full size short duration just to realize my gains, and then I added a short term call position. So probably like 20% of the capital or gains I use on a call position for a few weeks out. So my thinking behind that is it's going to be almost used as a hedge. So if I'm wrong and let's say this thing skyrockets Monday. So my opinion is I think this is going to pull back. I think this is going to pull back a little bit in the short term just to reload or find like previous resistance. I mean, we've had this nice run up, and shocker, things don't run up just straight all the time. So yes, on breakouts, it's nice when these run up like this, but I sold my short-term duration just to realize gains and protect my capital. So I do think this is going to pull back, but if I'm wrong, I keep on a short-term call as like a little hedge. So if we see some kind of short-term bullishness still, then that short-term call is going to be making myself money, or making money. So I'm still delta positive on the stock. So I still have a position on Moderna. So if it goes up, then great. But I am looking for some kind of pullback. So at worst, that hedge loses some value as this thing pulls back, and then I add full size at a great spot. The idea is I don't want to chase this. You know, why would I want to enter after a 3.6 day, or even why would I want to enter after like what? We've had a nice like 8% run up on the stock this week. Why would I want to enter after an 8% run up with the gains and profit that I just had? I'd look for a pullback to enter. That'd be stupid to chase, in my opinion. So leave the short-term call on as a hedge, waiting for a pullback to enter with more size. So that is the plan on Moderna in my thinking. Let's go to IWM. IWM looks to have a very excuse me, goodness gracious. Can't believe I just said goodness gracious. That was funny. Very bearish look on the daily, but I mean, it did exactly what we thought it was going to do today. I mean, if we look at this, I mean, it had, I want extended hours on, excuse me. If anything, we basically gapped up pre-market, closed right back below supply, and we're still right here. So, I mean, off of such a bearish look on the daily, it kind of did nothing. I mean, it closed down nothing, but it looks extremely bearish. But if we look at the 4 hour, I mean, all it did was wick above and pre-market, sell off back to resistance. Ever heard me say that before? I mean, you should. So anytime, I mean, yeah, gap above resistance, sell off back to resist, or gap above resistance almost always follows with a sell off back to it. So all we had was just a massive top wick and a big bottom wick. So kind of a nothing burger on IWM. I still absolutely love this long. I think we made some kind of like small like doji type red candle on the weekly, and I'll be looking for any pullbacks during the week and next week for long opportunities, and we're kind of in the the gap in the volume profile. So just as a little side note, the gap in the volume profile notes that there is a so between like these levels, so like 220 for say, from 220 to like 225, that is where all these transactions or volume is occurring during this price range. So from 219 to about 203, we just have not had many transactions going on, as you can see. I mean, we knifed through this. You see how we knifed through this right here? There wasn't much battling going on. So this is an area we tend to just knife through, don't have much buying and selling. Usually one side is dominant. So I'm looking for long-term ads next week, and then maybe just continuation long on IWM. But good week for IWM. STZ, this has been an awesome trade. We did end up selling the rest of my position today. This one is a little bit different from Moderna and PLD. I did not add any hedges or additional positions yet. First reason is because the options open interest sucks. Okay. The open interest was terrible, so I couldn't find any short-term contracts to kind of roll into this one or roll with. So I was not trying to get some stupid spread or bid-ask spread fills, and I was just not interested in doing that. So I did end up selling this. I honestly sold it at a really good spot on STZ. I think I saw, I don't remember where I sold it, but it was somewhere up here. So great trade. I am looking to add with whatever gains I had to make a risk-free position on this. I'm realistically looking for some kind of pullback to like this volume node right here, where we had previous resistance over here. I'd look for some kind of pullback right there. And then VPA-wise, I'm very glad I sold. If we take a look at this, yesterday's candle was 2.35% up day, and then today's candle was only a 0.95% up day. Yet we had almost a quarter more volume today. So there was definitely some kind of selling. Definitely some sellers were active today, and the candle did not match today's volume. So I'm expecting some kind of short-term pullback on STZ before it makes any move higher. But I could definitely see some kind of green day on Monday, maybe some kind of gravestone or something rejecting this. I mean, this just has so much momentum to the upside right now that you're probably not stopping this on a dime. If this thing gaps down or anything ridiculous on Monday, that's going to be an absolute gift. If this gaps down to 252, I might have to hammer this thing with all my gains and capital again. I think that'd be ridiculous. I'd be very excited if this gaps down, but likely not gonna. I mean, likely it might just make some kind of like rising wedge up here, you know, like reject a few times and then pull back and then double bottom and then continue higher, some bullshit like that. But that is what I'm watching on STZ. On the next one, we are going to be looking for. We're going to be looking at FSLR. So FSLR, I did end up closing today. Really didn't want to close this, but I did. I really think I'm very bullish on this stock, but in the short term, I think this is bearish. So why do I think this is bearish? This is a pretty solid rising wedge. So if we look, let's go see if I can Google it. Let's go see if I can find a rising wedge. Rising wedge. Rising wedge bullish reversal is what I'm specifically looking up here. Something like this. Some kind of rising wedge like this where it's going to break down. I think that is what FSLR is forming. Yeah, kind of that. So yeah, pretty much that. So I'm looking for some kind of wedge drop right here. I did end up selling this. I'm looking for some kind of drop to the volume profile POC. If we take a look at the 4 hour, this is what the 4 hour looks like, and we were kind of creating that wedge from back here, kind of. So we have those higher lows, we have the higher highs, but price is getting extremely tight within here, and I think this was due for a little bit of weakness and nice pullback to the POC right here. And then we did have increased sell volume today, so that is kind of what the wedge looks like on the daily, if you can see that. Make that a little more clearer, kind of like that. So I think this is certainly due for a pullback, and we did have increased sell volume today. Also, if we look at like the solar ETF, I just think it's due for pullback. I mean, we had some very high sell volume going on today, so I mean, right here we have a price gap up, and we'd usually want to see some kind of high volume increase on the gap up, but we had another gap up today and just extremely high sell volume. So I think that solar is going to see a little bit of weakness, especially with FSLR's rising wedge into next Monday. But extremely bullish on the sector. Just think we're going to see some kind of short-term weakness, and I will always re-enter an FSLR when it does show the weakness. So I did not leave on any longs as a hedge. I did not think that would be appropriate, and I think I'd rather see it confirm either way before adding some kind of hedges or anything. But that is FSLR. We did end up closing it for a pretty small loss today, but that is what I'm seeing on that name. KKR. KKR, we did swing long. On KKR, this had a very interesting day. I ended up closing this position for a profit. I think it was right here or here. I did have some time today, and I was able to be a little bit active in the market. So I did see that this was forming kind of a bearish look to it, and we had this big wick on the open, and then we had this hanging man candle on the 15-minute on increased sell volume, which is always no bueno. Also, just based off the look of it, it looked so much like it just looked like it was gonna sell off. Like it opened with a long upper wick and then a fat gap below. So I thought there's no way we don't fill the gap today. So I was able to sell it for up here, realize a few $100 in profit, and then I was able to actually grab it down here when it did close the gap, and we got a nice entry on that. So we are swinging KKR long. As a little recap, we've kind of the same setup as STZ before STZ took off. If we go back to right here, we entered STZ. You had these two very high volume buying candles right here. So your first one, two of them. Your first one's gonna be right here, this nice hammer candle right here, and that's followed up by this large bullish candle as well on good volume. And then you had two inside candle sell days, and then a third day right here. We did end up buying at the end of this doji candle, and then we saw this the next day. So sat through a little bit of a loss right there, but then obviously STZ did its thing. So nice job STZ, but that looks kind of like KKR. So I mentioned the two large buying volume days. So on KKR, we have large buying day number 1. We have large buying day number 2. We gapped up above resistance, classic. We sold off down to it, classic. And then we followed it up with a very high volume buying candle right there. And then we had 3 trading days within. Actually, we have our 4th trading day. Excuse me, now that I'm looking at it. So the spread of Monday's candle is from about 98.61 to 95.97, and then we had 4 consecutive days trading within just the spread of this massive buying candle. So I am looking for continuation long, and it is very encouraging that we saw some higher volume buying coming in once again. So we're going to be looking for an increase in buying volume again on Monday and continuation higher. But same kind of setup. We have resistance over here, 2 very high volume buying days, 3 inside candles, and then, I guess you could say even 4 here. So I'm just going to go repeat the same thing over there so you guys get it. 2 high volume buying days, 3 inside candles, break. 2 high volume buying days, 3 inside candles, break. Who knows? Let's see. So that is KKR, what I am watching. We had a nice bottom wick retesting previous resistance over here, so that was good to see. but we are long KKR heading into next week. We are full position on this as well. We sold some short-term profits and rolled the profits into original capital as well, into a new KKR position. Let's talk about FedEx. FedEx, we did end up cutting this. I cut FedEx, not at the close. I actually got a decent sell on FedEx. I think it may have been one of these candles, but I just did not love how FedEx was looking heading into today, and I'm very glad I sold. So why did I not love FedEx heading into today? Well, I did love it because it had this nice high volume gap up right there. You had your 2 inside candles, so we entered right here. You had your high volume gap up, your 2 inside candles, so right here, 2 inside candles. So we entered long off of that look. We saw this day, which was great, but we were concerned with the low volume. So I mean, this was like what? This was maybe a 1% today, 1.3% day right there. And then what was concerning was it had a low volume candle right there. It was low volume, so kind of concerning. What's even more concerning is the follow-up. So we had a high sell volume reject the breakout, and then we had an inside candle on more volume once again than the 1.3% day that we had, and then we kind of we closed below the recent higher, or we closed below the recent higher low right there and created a bearish structure on the daily. So whatever. FDX, nothing really too concerning right here. Kind of was in the same spot as we bought it at, so it was a pretty small loss, so always love that. But that is FDX, and we are out of FedEx now. I'll talk about Amazon last because that was a new swing from today. IYR, we did end up swinging. This was my Friday lotto play. I don't usually do that, but this was a good week, so we swung a Friday lotto on IYR, and it hit big time. Why did I swing IYR long? Well, we had 2 very high volume buying days, so your buying candles are right here, boom, and boom. Right there's your high volume buying. We had a gap down, completely inside candle, completely inside candle again, and then a completely inside candle right here once again. So 3 completely inside candles, and then look how small the sell volume was on Thursday. So that was kind of like your, was that a sell test? I'll have to see if that was talking more VPA here. So that might have been your test if sellers are still, no, probably not. But anyway, back to it. We had a extremely low volume day on Thursday, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take my chances long, and then we did end up seeing a nice green day on IYR. So entered like the 88 call, so something in the money, and then saw a nice run up today. So that was excellent. Capital One, we have no interest anymore, but I think I didn't recap Capital One when I exited. I did end up exiting in this candle somewhere around here. Hated how it was looking. This thing still could go. This thing still could. No, I think this is gonna break down. I think this is definitely gonna break down. Large hanging man candle, large upper wick, high sell volume once again today. I think it's gonna break down, but we ended up exiting Capital One within here. Saw some kind of BS low volume buying right there, and then sellers stepped back in today. So we'll see what it does, but I do not think it breaks long, even though the weekly looks like it. The weekly looks fantastic in my opinion. It's hard to imagine this doesn't break long. It's really hard to imagine this doesn't break long. I mean, look at the weekly look. We have, I mean, you have a high volume buying right here. I don't know what happened in this candle. What happened? Oh, yes, this is that candle. Is that candle? Yes, the week of the 20th. The week of the 20th, when they announced the Discover thing. Now that I'm looking at it, it's hard to imagine this doesn't break long. But on the daily, it just looks like it's going to break down. Interesting. Anyway, I have no dog in the fight anymore. I do not care about Capital One. I just wanted to update everyone on I sold that position. So let's go take a look at Amazon. Amazon, kind of concerning now that I'm seeing this. When I was watching, this daily volume did not have that much volume. So let's go take a look. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can pull up where I was looking at it. So if we can see this, I'm going to bring this over here for a sec. If we can see, when I was looking, Amazon did not have that much sell volume. Now that I'm looking at it, it's a little bit more concerning that it had so much sell volume, but let's go back and look at it. I'm going to close my Discord real quick. Okay, so what am I seeing? I am seeing high volume buying right here on Thursday the 22nd. I'm seeing high volume buying right here on the 23rd. Two very minuscule selling candles right there. Low volume right there, and then it followed up by a high volume green candle. We see a low volume, low green candle. That's good. We see an increased volume, long upper wick. That is bad. That is short-term weakness. We gapped down and we saw a decent sell volume. We had an inside candle and lower sell volume. And then we had an inside candle once again on higher buying volume. And then today's candle was completely inside on another higher volume. So I'm looking actually for a break to the upside. It is kind of concerning that this did have more sell volume than anticipated. But I do think that structure is bullish, and I do like the buying volume. And I guess it is an inside candle, and it's kind of indecision, so the the volume doesn't make too much, not too concerning. Let's go look at the VPA here. Okay, we had our open, nice upper wick sell candle there. Okay, we had a larger 15-minute candle on higher volume. That's no bueno. The sell off, higher volume, high volume, sell off, high volume, higher volume, and a smaller candle. That's interesting. Volume increasing as the spreads are decreasing right here. 3 high volume sell candles right there. Okay. Not as in love with it as I was at the close, I can tell you that for sure. I think this is in a good spot on the weekly at least. You have your high volume weekly buying candle right here. Small sell volume or small weekly candle right there. Decent bottom wick, higher volume, but nothing too crazy. High or low volume, big candle. Higher volume, smaller candle. Completely inside weekly right there. Okay, so this isn't. I mean, structure's there. Well, we're gonna have to see, aren't we? Kind of concerning. I don't love this candle anymore. I think, like, look how this one's great because we had the gap up, so we had a good price mover right there. But we had higher volume and a small sell candle or a small buying candle right there. Very interesting. Certainly don't love it as much as I did. Well, anyway, nevertheless, please don't gap down if it does. So let's see. Anyway, that is probably going to wrap up today's video. Very interesting week. Learned a lot. Had a great week. And looking forward to the next. Going to be charting, looking for swing trades going into next week. I'm going to be coming out with a video on Sunday regarding those new trades. And that is what I got going on. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and comment. It always means a ton, and I am super appreciative. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.